Hi, my name is Tobi Wehrle. I'm a musician and composer, and I want to introduce to you my second solo album. It's called Travel Journal. It is based on field recordings that I took on a world trip in 2015. We traveled the world for 6 months and recorded nearly 24 hours of field recordings in 8 different countries. Back home, I used these field recordings to create a track for each of these 8 countries, reflecting on the feelings that I had during that particular time. This whole process nearly took me 10 years to finish, besides getting married, founding a family, and becoming a father of 3 wonderful children. In this video, I want to share with you how I created the album and how I felt at that particular time and how each song was made. And I want to take you as a listener on a journey with me to listen to these tracks. The first song of the album is called Requiem for a Desert. The first sound that you hear is the wind of the desert. The first few weeks were a bit overshadowed by an incident that happened one day before our departure. The brother of one of my wife's best friends died suddenly, so we couldn't attend the funeral as we were in Chile. So in these first few weeks, during that time, I said goodbye to him in my own special way. I felt very connected to him, especially in the Atacama Desert, so I wrote this requiem for him to remember this great human being. I recorded the organ in the St. John's Church in Lüneburg. And I felt very honored to have recorded in such a historic place, as it was the same church that Johann Sebastian Bach had music lesson as a 15 to 17-year-old in the year 1700 to 1702. The guitar on this track was played by Freddy Schlender, and the cello on this whole album was played by my father-in-law, Markus Wehrle. The second song is called Crossing the Border. When we were in San Pedro de Atacama, we bought a bus ticket from San Pedro to Uyuni in Bolivia. This bus tour was not really advertised, so on this particular day, we changed buses and we were taken by Land Rovers, and it was really strange that all these drivers gave each other money. So we had the feeling as if we were smuggled across the border, although we did get a proper stamp in our passport. So this song is about trusting in the journey that you take and trusting the people around you. So after our time in Chile and Bolivia, we went to Mexico. We spent 3 weeks in Mexico, and it was a really special time for us as we met so many nice people and indulged in the culture and had such delicious food. Being at the airport, having to leave this country really felt strange to us. And it was a really intense feeling, as if we had to leave a loved one. After all these wonderful weeks in Chile, Bolivia and Mexico, we flew to Canada, to Vancouver. After spending our first night at the hostel, hearing all these superficial conversations at the breakfast table in this now Western world, it really was a strange feeling to be there. Although we spent 1 week on Vancouver Island, which was nice, we had the feeling that we had to leave the country as soon as possible. So it was a feeling of being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Our original plan had been to fly from Vancouver to San Francisco, take the bus to LA, and then spend some weeks on Hawaii. It sounded like a really good plan, but when we were in Vancouver, we had to change something. Unfortunately, our travel agency in Berlin couldn't change our flights, so we went to the Vancouver airport and found a lady who could hack into the system 1 day before our departure to the US and change our flight route. We spent some wonderful weeks on Bali and rented a scooter and explored the island. We really got into the Balinese culture, attended a wedding there from one of our hosts, and also listened to gamelan music. In the town Ubud, we saw a gamelan orchestra, and when I was back home, I wanted to compose some music inspired by this gamelan music. And in the middle of the song, you can hear an instrument that I sampled in a souvenir shop. So I really could play this instrument on a keyboard and compose my music with my own palette of instruments. The next stop was Taiwan. We spent 3 weeks on the island and got to know the Taiwanese culture and very, very friendly people. So the song An Island is just a big thank you to all the couch surfers and people we stayed with. The weeks in Thailand were a big mixture of different aspects, of seeing temples, of seeing nature, of learning how to scuba dive, and living on the island Koh Tao. I really associated our time in Thailand with water. So you hear different soundscapes and ambiences, for example, from a boat trip in Bangkok to voices in the city. So it's a big blend of a lot of influences that you can find in this country. Although India as a country has endless faces, I wanted to focus on 2 aspects of what we experienced in our time in India. The track 2 Faces of a Country starts within the Taj Mahal. So what you hear is a soundscape of this monument and people looking into the air full of wonder. And I also recorded a clap, and I used this clap sound to create a convolution reverb. So this reverb was added to all these instruments that I recorded afterwards. So you hear all these instruments as if they had been recorded inside the Taj Mahal. After the Taj Mahal, you hear an exhilarating train ride, as we took a lot of trains in India, and leading to the noisiness of Indian streets and drums that you can hear in festive activities. In the end of the track, you hear the Taj Mahal again. So there's a huge arch from the beginning to the end. A piano chord fades out, just leaving a lot of space for the listener to return after the journey and come back to reality.